There comes a momensilent, invisible, and often unnoticed when a man or woman stands at the crossroads of everything they've been and everything they could become. No lights flash. No voice from the sky declares the hour. But deep inside, the soul begins to tremble. A whisper echoes from within, cutting through the noise of routine. This isn't it. You look around, same job, same habits, same excuses, same dreams, still shelved. And you start to feel it. Not a scream, not a panic, but a quiet pressure. The weight of potential unfulfilled. And in that moment, a truth begins to bloom, a truth many try to silence. That only you can change your life. Not your parents, not your boss, not your friends, not the government, not even the clock ticking above your head. You. And that realization? It's not a burden, it's a gift. Because in a world where so many blame and wait, the power to choose differently, to become something more, has always been yours. It starts with the mind, your most powerful battlefield. You have to wage war there before you win anywhere else. If your thoughts are broken, your results will be too. You can't think like a victim and act like a champion. You can't dwell on limits and expect expansion. You can't poison the soil and pray for a harvest. Your mindset is the root system of your destiny. You don't rise in life to the level of your talent. You rise to the level of your belief. If you believe that you're stuck, then you are. If you believe you're too late, then you've already missed it. But if you believe even with trembling hands that you were made for more, that belief will crack open doors no degree or favor ever could. People wait for confidence to start. But the truth? Confidence is a consequence, not a requirement. Action breeds it. Motion builds it. The first step will feel shaky, but that's the cost of growth. And if you're not willing to be seen starting, you'll never be seen succeeding. Clarity follows motion. Don't wait to figure it all out. Life doesn't reward the one who plans best. It rewards the one who dares to begin. What you're searching for will reveal itself in the doing, not the thinking. Vision is the blueprint of your future. Not a fantasy, not a wish. A vision is a demand you place on your potential. It's the statement of a soul that refuses to sleepwalk through life. You must see yourself beyond your current reality and hold that image tighter than the chaos of the present, because the world will try to blur your sight with distractions, doubts, and delay. But the clearer your vision, the less convincing your excuses become. Purpose, now that is the fire. Purpose is the reason you don't quit. It's not always loud, not always glorious, but it's always there. It's the quiet conviction that you were born to build something, to impact someone, to live fully awake. Purpose gives pain a reason and failure a lesson. Without it, you drift. With it, you move like a storm focused, relentless, unshaken. Discipline is the bridge between the life you want and the life you tolerate. It's not about motivation. Motivation is emotional. It comes and goes. But discipline is a decision. You do what you said you'd do, long after the mood you set it in has left you. It's rising early when sleep begs you to stay. It's choosing the gym over the couch, the book over the feed, the work over the wish. Discipline is a form of self-respect. It's how you tell your future self, I've got you. Action is the great separator. Ideas are cheap, everyone has them. But action? That's where the few break away from the many. Massive action doesn't wait for perfection. It doesn't overthink. It moves. It stumbles. It adapts. It learns. But it never stops. Because momentum is the ally of greatness. And hesitation is the killer of dreams. And if you want to build a life that outlives your name, gratitude must be your foundation. Not the fluffy, surface-level gratitude of quotes and coffee mugs, but the deep, soul-rooted awareness that you're already rich in breath, in choice, and opportunity. Gratitude is the mindset that multiplies. It doesn't deny the fight. It just chooses to see the gift inside it. The more grateful you are, the more powerfully you move, because you stop waiting for better and start building it now. Adaptability is your survival skill. The world will change. The plan will break. People will disappoint. But if your roots are deep, if your mission is anchored, you can bend without breaking. You can pivot without panic. Adaptability means you don't cling to comfort you. Cling to growth. And those who adapt, rise. Resilience is not toughness. It's transformation. It's what happens when you fall and decide to rise different, stronger, smarter, sharper. Every setback carries within it the seed of a setup, but only those who refuse to stay down ever find it. Life will hit, but resilience says, I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become next. And never stop learning. The most dangerous place to be is thinking you already know. Growth is humility in motion. It's reading when others scroll, asking when others assume, trying when others dismiss. Success leaves clues, but only the curious will see them. You must become a student of yourself, a master of your time, and a steward of your energy, because your life is not a rehearsal. This is it. The clock is ticking. The years will pass whether you act or not. But only you can decide if they pass meaningfully. Stop waiting. Stop blaming. Stop explaining. You weren't born to coast. You weren't made to be lukewarm. There is a fire inside you that has not been extinguished, only buried. And the match, it's in your hands. Only you can change your life. Only you can say, enough. Enough settling, enough delaying, enough hiding behind distractions and doubt. You are not too late. You are not too broken. You are not too ordinary. The power to rewrite your story is within you, but it demands courage. So speak it, declare it, claim it. Not someday, not when it's convenient, now. Because the life you want won't hand itself to you. It must be built. Brick by brick, day by day, choice by choice. And if you build it with vision, with discipline, with gratitude and grit, you'll wake up one day, not at the mercy of life, but as the architect of it. And that right there is when you'll finally understand. Only you can change your life. And you always could. So now the question is not, can you do it? But will you? Will you break the cycle or will you repeat it? Will you push through the pain or will you fold in the fire? Will you rise to meet the demand of your destiny or will you collapse under the comfort of your excuses? This is not a call to perfection. It's a call to power, to reclaim what you've always had but may have forgotten. The authority over your life, the authorship of your story, the sovereignty of your soul. Because the world will sell you stories some handed down from childhood, others broadcast every day. Stories that say you're just one of the many. Stories that say success is reserved for the few. Stories that say, play it safe, stay in your lane, don't aim too high. But the truth, the most dangerous lie, is not the one others tell you, it's the one you start telling yourself. I'm not ready. I'm too late. I'm not enough. Lies. Every one of them. Dressed up in the clothing of logic, stitched together by fear, sold to you as wisdom, but underneath it all, it's just a whisper of doubting your will to fight. And you have to decide right now if you will live your life reacting to your past or responding to your future. Because here's what they don't tell you. You don't have to feel ready to start. You just have to be willing. The universe moves for the bold. Life opens up for the decisive. And progress is attracted to those who stop asking for permission. You see, there are two types of people walking the earth right now. Those who let the days happen to them and those who happen to the day. Those who sit and wish and those who stand and work. Those who dream and those who do. Which one are you? You don't rise by luck. You rise by design. And design requires a decision. You want confidence? Earn it through consistency. You want freedom? Forge it through discipline. You want transformation? Face the resistance, because it will come. Resistance is proof you're on the right path. If you're not meeting resistance, you're not pushing the edge. The moment you choose better, lesser things will try to pull you back. Old habits will beg for one more day. Old friends will say, you've changed. And they're right, you have, because you must. Stagnation is death in slow motion. Comfort is a coffin lined with soft lies. And mediocrity? That's the slow erosion of your soul. So, build new standards. Ruthlessly. Guard your time. Vigorously. Sharpen your mind. Daily. Speak your vision. Boldly. And protect your energy like a lion protects its den. Not everything deserves your attention. Not everyone earns your access. You were not meant to blend in. You were meant to stand out. Not in arrogance, but in alignment. Alignment with your calling. Alignment with your values. Alignment with the highest version of yourself, the one who's been waiting on you to rise. This is your life, not a rehearsal, not a warm-up. This is the main act. And here's the truth. Most won't say, you don't need more time. You need more focus. You don't need more chances. You need more courage. You don't need more approval. You need more belief in yourself. So burn the plan B. Let go of the back doors. Stop entertaining the idea that you'll try. You don't try. You train. You commit. You become. Your life doesn't change when the calendar flips. It changes when your mindset flips. When you stop saying maybe and start saying must. When you stop asking, how long will it take? And start saying, however long it takes. When you stop seeing change as a sacrifice and start seeing it as salvation. This is about rebirth, about tearing down the walls you built to protect your fears and constructing a new foundation on the bones of your excuses. Let your past be the classroom, not the cage. Let your pain be the forge, not the finish line. Let your doubt be the drumbeat of a new decision, not the silence of surrender. And above all, remember this. You are not here by accident. You are not breathing by mistake. There is a reason you're still standing. A reason that life has not let you go. You are not done yet. Everything you need is already inside of you. Not in some course, not in someone else's approval, not in a miracle from the sky. It's in your choices. It's in your discipline. It's in the daily, unglamorous, non-negotiable habits that most ignore, but the few master. Those few? They're not better than you. They just decided earlier. They decided that their life would be shaped by intention, not inertia. And that's the decision waiting for you now. Will you rise? Will you fight? Will you demand more from yourself than anyone else ever has? Because once you do, life will respond. The path will reveal itself. The right people will appear. The right doors will open. Not because it got easier, but because you got stronger. And that strength, that certainty, that undeniable, unshakable fire, it all begins with one decision. Only you can change your life. And now is the time. No more deferring your destiny to another day. Because the enemy of progress wears many faces later. Tomorrow, next week. But every time you say, I'll start soon, you're negotiating with your future, selling it for the comfort of now. And comfort is the silent killer of kings. You weren't made for comfort. You were made for conquest. And to conquer anything out there, you must first conquer what's in here in the mind, in the mirror, and the minutes you waste trying to look busy when your soul is begging for a mission. Most people aren't tired. They're unfulfilled. Most aren't overwhelmed. They're underutilized. The spirit gets loud when it's underfed, and it starts to whisper, you were made for more. But more doesn't come to the casual. It comes to the committed. You think you're waiting on a sign. The sign is you're still here, still breathing, still thinking about the life that could be. And the truth? You don't need more information. You need more execution. The gap between where you are and where you want to be isn't lack of knowledge. It's lack of alignment between what you say you want and what you do daily. Every goal you've shelved, every dream you've delayed, every ambition you've buried beneath distraction, it's still alive, but barely. And you are the only one who can revive it. Not with more hoping, but with more doing. Not with more talking, but with more becoming. Let your calendar reflect your convictions. Let your habits preach louder than your words. Let your actions make noise in rooms you haven't entered yet. Because nothing changes until you decide that the pain of staying the same is worse than the pain of becoming more. You say you want change, then change what you tolerate. You say you want freedom, then chain your focus to the things that matter. You say you want greatness, then let your mornings declare war on mediocrity. There is a version of you that has never known defeat, a version that's been buried under years of fear, doubt, and delay. Dig. Dig with your choices. Dig with your discipline. Dig with every quiet sacrifice that no one sees but your future self will thank you for. Do not fear the grind. Fear the regret. Regret is heavier than any discipline. Because the truth most run from is this: you are responsible for the life you have. And that means you are powerful enough to build the life you want. You are both the artist and the canvas, the seed and the sower, the story and the pen, but the pen doesn't move unless you do. There will be days when no one claps, when no one sees the progress, when it feels like you're running uphill in silence. But keep moving, because the most powerful transformations don't happen in public. They happen in private, in quiet, in obscurity. That's where champions are made. The moment you stop seeking applause and start seeking alignment, everything changes. You stop chasing validation and you start embodying value. You stop asking, do they believe in me? And start declaring, I believe in me. Because it's not about being the loudest in the room. It's about being the most anchored, the most unshakable, the one who walks in purpose so relentlessly that doubt has no seat at the table. And yes, this path will cost you. It will cost you your comfort. It will cost you your laziness. It will cost you your excuses. It might even cost you some people. But what you gain authority. You gain clarity. You gain a life you don't need a vacation from. You gain peace not because things are perfect, but because you are becoming who you were meant to be. So stop asking life to change and start demanding it from yourself. Stop waiting for the world to notice and start showing the world what it looks like when someone wakes up to their power. Because here's the truth etched into every fiber of your being. You are not average. You are not weak. You are not stuck. You are powerful. You are decisive. You are capable of radical transformation. And the moment you decide, without hesitation, without negotiation, without apology, that moment is the birth of a new you. Not an upgraded version, a reborn version, a risen version, a version that doesn't play small to make others comfortable, a version that doesn't shrink to fit into old spaces, a version that walks like their prayers are already answered. And if that sounds bold, good. This life requires boldness, not arrogance, but authority, not noise, but depth, not speed, but stamina. Because greatness isn't built in a moment, it's forged. Across moments, quiet ones, daily ones, invisible ones. When no one sees, but you still show up. When no one claps, but you still move forward. When no one believes, but you still speak life. And when you look back not with regret, but with reverence, you'll realize that every hard choice, every lonely night, every early morning, every rejected shortcut, it was worth it. Because you didn't just change your life. You took it. You owned it. You built it. You refused to give it away to fear, to opinions, to the easy way out. And that kind of life, that's the life only the few ever taste. The ones who chose growth over comfort, progress over pride, vision over validation. The ones who stood at the edge of average and walked into the fire anyway. Not because it was easy, but because only you can change your life. And you finally believed it. And belief, once ignited, is a wildfire. It doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't wait for consensus. It burns through the weeds of doubt, of delay, of all the false identities you once accepted as your ceiling. When belief meets action, a new force is born known that doesn't back down, doesn't shrink, doesn't need to be told twice. That force is you, fully awakened. You begin to speak differently. You start speaking life and not just into others, but into yourself, into your mornings, into your work, into your future. Your words shift. Your posture changes. You stop saying, I hope, and start saying, I will. You stop saying, someday, and you say, today. Because the words you speak shape the world you live in. Every sentence you repeat becomes a prophecy, and every prophecy becomes a blueprint. Your mouth is not just for describing, it's for directing. You don't just talk about reality. You construct it. So speak with intention. Speak with power. Speak with the weight of someone who knows they were born for more. Because every time you open your mouth, you plant a seed. And the question is, what are you growing? Are you sowing self-pity or self-leadership? Are you watering fear or feeding faith? Are your words a chain around your ankles or wings on your back? Most people don't need a new strategy. They need a new story. And stories are told with words. Words become habits. Habits become character. Character becomes destiny. And the greatest lie you'll ever hear is that words don't matter. They matter more than talent, more than timing, more than connections. Because your words are the architects of your inner world. And your inner world is the pilot of your entire life. Say it. I am done shrinking. Say it. I am no longer waiting to be chosen. I choose myself. Say it. I do not chase what I already carry within me. Say it. I do not borrow confidence, I build it. You speak these things not because they're always true in the moment, but because they must become true. And the only way to make that happen is to put your voice behind your vision. The most successful people in the world are not the ones with the most resources. They are the ones with the most resourcefulness. They didn't start with the answers. They started with resolve. They spoke what they would become, and they acted like it before the world agreed. And if you wait for the world to agree before you begin, you'll never begin. You have to lead your life, even when no one follows. You have to act like the person you're becoming, even when the evidence hasn't caught up yet. Faith is walking like it's already yours. Discipline is working like it's already here. And mastery is becoming it before the world sees it. So wake up with intention. Wake up with clarity. Wake up with words that sculpt your spirit, not sabotage your soul. Speak like your future depends on it, because it does. Speak like your family's legacy depends on it, because it does. Speak like your identity is being forged with every sentence, because it is. Your future isn't waiting at the end of a perfect plan. It's waiting at the end of a powerful decision. A decision that you repeat every day through your habits, your mindset, your language. Because change doesn't come by accident, it comes by alignment. And alignment means everything you do, everything you think, everything you say flows in the same direction. No more contradiction. No more confusion. No more calling yourself one thing and living like another. That's over. Now you speak what you believe. You act on what you speak. And you become what you repeat. You become it in silence. You become it in storms. You become it when the odds don't make sense. You become it when no one claps, no one calls, no one helps. You become it anyway. Because you've learned that true power isn't handed to you. It's taken through self-leadership, through radical ownership, through refusing to betray your future just to feel good in the moment. You are done living by default, done coasting, done blending in, done outsourcing your potential to other people's opinions. And now you rise. You rise because nothing and no one else can do it for you. You rise because the clock is still ticking and the life you want is still possible. You rise because everything you've ever needed was never outside of you, was always waiting for you to see it, to own it, to unleash it. This is not motivation. This is a declaration. This is your life, and no one else can live it. This is your mission, and no one else can complete it. This is your time, and it doesn't repeat. So walk forward not as the person you were, but as the person you decided to become. Walk like the storm that breaks cycles. Walk like the sunrise that melts fear. Walk like the voice that speaks life where death once reigned. Because only you can change your life. And today you do. And when you do, something shifts. Not just around you, but within you. A sacred, undeniable change in the way your soul carries itself. No more begging for chances. No more asking for permission to be powerful. No more living as a shadow of your own potential. You become the cause not the effect, the source not the echo. You stop reacting and start creating. You begin to move with a different rhythm, a different frequency, one that disrupts the inertia of average and breaks the spell of mediocrity. Because here's what the world will never teach you. The standard you accept is the standard you live by. And most people don't raise their standard because they think it's hard. They don't raise it because they've never been told they can. But you can. You must. And you will. You are not here to tolerate life. You are here to transform it. Your story is not a cautionary tally. It's a catalyst. And all of the pain, the pressure, the problems, they weren't meant to bury you. They were meant to build you. Everything you've survived, it wasn't random. It was preparation. Preparation for now, for this moment, for this voice inside you that's no longer whispering, it's roaring. Roaring with purpose, roaring with clarity, roaring with the fire of someone who has seen the edge of who they were and stepped beyond it. You no longer chase success like a child chasing a balloon in the wind. You magnetize it by who you become, because success is not a place, it's a pattern. A pattern of high standards, daily disciplines, and unwavering belief in the face of invisible results. It's built in the repetition, in the unglamorous, unseen, uncelebrated moments, the 5 a.m. alarms, the hard conversations, the quiet choices to keep going when quitting is easier. That's where champions are forged in the shadows, not the spotlight. So stop glamorizing the destination and start honoring the process. The sweat, the tears, the silence. That's where your edge is built. That's where your power is honed. And that's where your name will be remembered. Not because you shouted louder, but because you stood stronger. And let this sink deep into your spirit. You do not owe this world a version of you that keeps everyone comfortable. You do not exist to meet expectations. You exist to set them. You do not apologize for your ambition. You honor it. Because your ambition is divine. It's not greed. It's not arrogance. It's a signal from your soul that there's more to do, more to build, more to become. So stop lowering your voice to make others feel secure. Stop diluting your dreams to fit into their limitations. Stop editing your greatness to match their comfort. You weren't made to be understood by everyone. You were made to be undeniable. And if that means walking alone for a season, so be it. Because the right people don't fear your fire. They rise in its warmth. This is your evolution, your resurrection, your arrival. Not because you've arrived at a place, but because you've finally returned to who you really are, unfiltered, unshaken, unstoppable. You now walk in the fullness of your power. Not just the idea of it, the embodiment of it. You don't just talk differently, you move differently, decide differently, think differently, because you are different. You've chosen to do what most won't, so you can live like most can't. You've chosen to lead when others follow, to rise when others rest, to build when others break, and to believe even when there's no evidence yet. You're not just rewriting your story, you're redrawing the map for everyone watching, everyone waiting for someone to go first. And whether they ever tell you or not, your courage is contagious. So stand tall, breathe deep, and keep moving. Your legacy isn't written in stone. It's written in the choices you make when no one's watching. It's written in the moments you don't quit, in the days you don't give in the fire you refuse to let go out. You are the architect, the sculptor, the author. You are not waiting on life. Life is waiting on you. And now finally, fully, irrevocably, you move. Because only you can change your life. And now, you've chosen to. And that choice, that quiet, defiant, earth-shaking choice, becomes the beginning of your rebirth. No grand ceremony, no confetti, no audience applauding, just a soul standing up in the middle of its own storm saying enough. Enough of living beneath your calling. Enough of making fear your advisor. Enough of waiting for rescue from a life you've always had the power to redesign. This is the moment where you cross the line from wishing into willing. Willing to go deeper. Willing to endure more. Willing to sharpen yourself until every edge of your old life is cut away. Because there's a warrior inside of you, not a brute, not a tyrant, but a sacred protector of what is possible, a relentless force of creation. And it doesn't come from rage, it comes from responsibility. The sacred responsibility of realizing that no one else is coming to save you because you were never meant to be saved. You were meant to rise. You were meant to become the kind of person who saves others through your example, through your evolution, through the audacity of your transformation. The world doesn't need more echo chambers. It needs people who walk in truth, people who stand when it's uncomfortable, people who speak when it's unpopular, people who choose purpose over popularity. And when you truly decide, when the fire inside you gets hot enough, your whole life begins to rearrange itself. Not because the world suddenly changes, but because you finally do. You stop negotiating with the old you. You stop making excuses for average. You stop trying to convince others. Because now you're too busy building. You're building momentum, building identity, building habits that don't just move you forward, but pull you forward like gravity. And the faster you move in alignment with your calling, the less resistance you feel. Not because it's easier, but because you're stronger. Stronger in your discipline. Stronger in your clarity. Stronger in your ability to say no to what no longer serves you. And let me remind you, saying no is spiritual warfare. No to distractions. No to validation addiction. No to things that glitter but don't grow you. You start pruning your life like a master gardener. Not everything gets to grow. Not everyone gets to go, because your energy is sacred. And if it doesn't feed your mission, it doesn't get your time. You realize that your time is your life, and wasting time is death on a payment plan. So you make time your servant, not your master. You stop living by the clock and start living by intention, and every second becomes sacred again. And in that sacred rhythm, something extraordinary happens. You begin to feel light again, not because life is without weight, but because you've shed what was never yours to carry. The guilt, the shame, the need to be understood by everyone. The pressure to prove something to people who never saw you anyway. Gone. And what's left is you, the real you, the one who doesn't shrink, the one who doesn't beg, the one who walks into every room like they belong there because they built the door. You start walking with clarity, with pace, with pisano, the peace of comfort, but the peace of alignment. And people start to notice, not because you've changed your clothes or your title, but because you've changed your temperature. You're no longer lukewarm. You are on fire. And the fire isn't loud. It doesn't need to be. It's felt. It's seen in your eyes, heard in your voice, embedded in every move you make. Because you've stopped chasing results and started becoming the kind of person results chase. You now attract opportunities. You now command attention. You now embody the standard. And not because you're better than anyone else, but because you finally realized you are not here to play small. You are not here to survive this life. You are here to lead it. You are not here to react to the world. You are here to shape it. You are not here to simply have potential. You are here to realize it. And the road ahead, yes, it will be hard, but it will be holy. Because this path, the path of the few, the path of the aligned, is not the path of ease. It is the path of evolution. And the reward? You become someone you respect, someone you admire, someone your younger self would be proud of, and someone your older self will thank. Not because you had it easy, but because you refused to quit. Because in the end, all the speeches, all the books, all the strategies, they mean nothing without this. A single, soul-defining decision to rise, to walk forward, to burn the backup plan, to own the fire within, because only you can change your life. And you have. Now, go live like it. Live like the battle is already won, because it is. Not one in comfort, not one in theory, but one in every decision you've made to refuse average. Every morning you've risen before the world. Every time you've walked into discomfort with your head high and your spirit anchored. Every time you chose growth over gossip, discipline over dopamine, conviction over convenience. You see, the prize was never just the lifestyle. It was who you had to become to live it. That's the real reward. The life that's earned, not inherited. The character that's forged, not faked. The confidence that comes from alignment, not applause. And now, your footsteps echo differently. You don't need to explain your transformation. It speaks for itself. It drips from your habits. It burns in your discipline. It radiates in the silence of your focus. Because true power never needs to announce itself. It simply is. You now understand something most never will. That the highest form of wealth is not money, it's choice. The ability to choose your thoughts, to choose your habits, to choose your environment, to choose your standard and never lower it again. And that choice, that audacity to live at a higher frequency, that's what separates the drifters from the architects, the followers from the leaders, the forgotten from the legendary. Because this world doesn't just remember talent, it remembers the unreasonable. The ones who were unreasonable enough to believe that vision matters more than validation. That purpose matters more than praise. That transformation matters more than tradition. You, now, are one of the unreasonable. The rare few who decided that life doesn't happen to them, it happens from them. That your identity isn't something to discover, it's something to declare. So declare it now. I am the storm. I am the standard. I am the fire that does not go out. Speak it until your bones believe it. Walk it until your shadow shifts. Repeat it until every cell in your body remembers who you truly are. You are no longer becoming. You are being. You've stepped beyond potential, beyond plans, beyond someday. You are now, and the world, it will shift around you. Because when one person fully owns their life without excuse, without delay, without apology, it creates a ripple, a wave, a silent revolution. So become the revolution, not by force, but by frequency, not by domination, but by embodiment, not by noise, but by presence. When you walk into a room, let your integrity speak louder than your resume. When you show up, let your energy preach louder than your words. When you act, let your intention pierce louder than any strategy. Because now, you live as one who knows that greatness is not a gift, it's a daily grind. Knows that legacy is not built in bursts, but in silence, repetition, and sweat. Knows that a life of meaning is not handed to you, it's hammered into place by every small choice you refuse to compromise on. And maybe no one will see the hours you gave. Maybe no one will applaud the tears you swallowed. Maybe no one will understand the battles you fought in private. But you will. And that's enough. Because you didn't do it for them. You did it for the promise you made to yourself. The vow you took in the silence. The standard you decided would never break, no matter how tired, how tested, or how alone you felt. You've walked through fire. You've rebuilt from ashes. And now you don't just speak life. You are life. A living example of what's possible when a soul decides to rise. So rise. Every day. Without fail. Without compromise. Without question. Because the answer is already inside you. It always was. Only you can change your life. And now that you have the rest of the world, better get ready. Because once a person deciduously decides to rise, nothing can stop them. Not doubt, not fear, not failure, not the opinions of the small-minded, not the delays, not the detours, not even time itself. Because time bends for those who move with purpose. The hours stretch for the focused. The universe responds to the committed. Doors open for the one who doesn't knock timidly but walks as if they belong inside. You don't wait for permission anymore. You embody permission. You don't chase the life you want, you build it with bare hands and unshakable will. And yes, you'll still fall. You'll still bleed. You'll still stumble in the dark sometimes. But now, you don't fear those moments, you own them. You understand that every setback is sacred. That pain is not punishment, it's preparation. That pressure is not a sign to fold, it's a signal to rise higher. You've learned the secret, that the bigger the calling, the greater the resistance. And that's why the fire must be within, because if the fire is only external, it'll go out. But if it's inside you burning with intention, fueled by purpose, and nothing can extinguish it. The storms will come. Let them. The critics will speak. Let them. The path will get lonely. Let it. Because you didn't choose this life for the applause. You chose it for the becoming of the man, the woman, the force you were destined to be, the one who walks not by sight, but by vision, the one who carries peace not because it's easy, but because they've built it brick by brick from their pain. So now, with every step you take, you rewrite what's possible. With every decision, you rewire your reality. With every day, you redefine what strength looks like, and not as bravado, but as consistency. And you'll know you've changed when silence becomes your friend, when solitude feels like power, when distraction holds no appeal, when you'd rather build in the dark than impress in the light. That's when you know you've arrived not at your final form, but at your foundation. And from here, anything is possible because you become dangerous, not because you harm, but because you heal, not because you intimidate, but because you inspire, not because you chase validation, but because you live from vision. You've stopped chasing success and started chasing alignment. You've stopped needing to whine and started needing to grow. You've stopped performing and started being. And that's the highest form of leadership. When you lead by becoming, when your life becomes the message, when your presence becomes a mirror that challenges others to rise, you're not just changing your life, you're changing generations. You're not just building wealth, you're building legacy. You're not just speaking truth, you're living it. And if the world isn't ready for that, that's fine. You are. You're no longer scared of your power. You're no longer dimming your light. You're no longer asking for the world's approval before you walk in your calling. You know who you are now. You know what you carry. And every day is now a sacred opportunity to reflect that truth, to walk in alignment, to build in excellence, to rise with clarity, and to never return to the version of you who doubted this moment was possible. Because that version, they served their purpose. They brought you here, but they're not coming with you. Only you can change your life. And now, you own that truth. Now you live that truth. Now you are that truth. You are the proof, not the promise, not the theory, not the concept, the living proof. That change is possible. That reinvention is real. That a broken story can be rewritten with strength, with vision, with fire. You are no longer rehearsing who you might become. You are performing the reality of who you already are. And every morning you lace your shoes with intention. You walk out that door, not as someone hoping life will go well, but as someone who has decided it will. Because life doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you expect, and your expectations have risen. You no longer settle. You no longer drift. You no longer blend into the background of your own existence. You stand out because you stand up. You show up for your life like it matters, because it does. You show up for your future like it's watching, because it is. You show up for your purpose like someone else's life depends on it, because someone's does. You don't just live for yourself anymore. You live for everyone who's ever been told to sit down, to be quiet, to wait their turn, to stay small. Your life becomes a rebellion against that lie. Because when you rise, you give others permission to rise. When you lead, you light a path others didn't know existed. When you win, you rewrite the story for everyone watching you in silence, hoping it's possible for them too. You are not just the product of your past. You are the pioneer of your future. And you walk into that future fully awake, fully alive, fully aligned, No more pretending. No more postponing. No more living on the sidelines of your own soul. You've stepped into the fire and you didn't burn. You became disciplined. You became bold. You became focused. You became unstoppable. Not because you never fell, but because every time you did, you rose higher. And now, the world won't know what hit it, because the person who once doubted now dominates. The one who once whispered now commands. The one who once waited now leads. And when you speak now, your words aren't just words, they're weapons. They slice through excuses. They break the spell of fear. They plant seeds of fire in those ready to wake up. Because your voice now carries the weight of authenticity. You've lived it, you've bled for it, you've earned it, and no one can take that from you. So as you breathe, as you walk, as you build, do it with this truth in your bones. You are not here to survive life. You are here to shape it. You are not here to play the role. You are here to own the stage. You are not here to be remembered. You are here to be unforgettable. And it all began the moment you finally, fully, irrevocably understood. Only you can change your life. And now, you have. Now, you live it. You breathe it in with every morning. You carry it like armor. You sharpen it like a blade. Because life no longer happens to you, it happens through you. You don't chase change anymore. You are the change. A walking revolution. A silent storm. A deliberate disruption of everything average and everything artificial. Because now, nothing about you is accidental. Your focus is intentional. Your presence is intentional. Your silence is intentional. Your rise is intentional. And those watching from the sidelines, some will cheer. Some will doubt. Some will fear the reflection your growth casts on their stagnation. Let them, because you didn't rise for their comfort. You didn't choose this path so everyone would understand you. You chose it because you refused to leave this earth with your potential still buried inside you. You chose it because you were tired of being more invested in your limitations than in your greatness. You chose it because something deep in your soul got louder than your excuses. You chose it because you realized that playing small, never protected you only robbed the world of what you were sent here to give. And now, you're giving it. In your discipline, in your standards, in your voice, in your presence. You no longer apologize for your expectations. You enforce them because you know that your standards are not a burden. They're a blessing. They are the filter through which your future flows. And when you raise them, everything around you must rise or be removed. You are no longer impressed by noise, no longer seduced by surface, no longer pacified by praise. You're moved by alignment, by purpose, by mastery, and you demand that from yourself daily. Not in spurts, not in seasons, but forever. Because this isn't a phase. This isn't a sprint. This is who you are now. And there's no going back. You couldn't go back even if you wanted to. The old life doesn't fit anymore. The old rooms feel small. The old distractions taste bitter. The old habits feel like betrayal. Because the moment you met the real you, the limitless you made a vow, a silent, sacred vow. I will never abandon my becoming again. And from that vow comes a new kind of energy. Not hype, not adrenaline, but clarity. The clarity of someone who has nothing to prove but everything to build. The clarity of someone who no longer waits for conditions to be perfect, but becomes perfect through their persistence. The clarity of someone who understands the game is not to look powerful, but to be powerful. So now, every step you take becomes a signal to the world, to your future, to every cell in your being. It says, I know who I am. It says, I know where I'm going. It says, and nothing will stand in my way, not even me. You finally stepped into the highest form of freedom, the freedom of full ownership. No more blame, no more distraction, no more delay. You carry your name with pride. You carry your future with fire. You carry your legacy in every move you make. And that legacy, it won't be built by chance. It'll be built by choice. Your choice. Because only you can change your life. And now the world gets to witness what happens when someone does. And when the world witnesses it, when it sees you rise, unbent, unbowed, unstoppable, won't know the weight you carried to get here. It won't know the nights you stood alone in silence, battling demons of doubt, slicing through layers of limitation, and still choosing to build. They'll see the result, but they won't see the war. But you will. And that's all that matters. Because this life you're now creating was never about proving anything to them. It was about proving something to you. Proving that the person you dreamed of becoming wasn't a fantasy, was a memory of your future, a preview from the divine, a calling disguised as a whisper, waiting for you to listen. And now, you've listened. You've answered. You've become. No more internal conflict. No more soul split between the version that pleases and the version that leads. You're aligned now, whole, integrated, awake. You've tasted the cost of compromise and spit it out. You've seen the weight of wasted time and dropped it. You've faced the lie of someday and destroyed it. Because someday is not a day of the week. It is a coffin for dreams. And you've decided you will not die with your dreams still breathing inside you. You've buried the lie of limitations. You've torched the scripts written by fear. You've walked out of the cages others built for you, and even worse, the ones you built for yourself. And when you look back now, it's not with regret. It's with reverence. Reverence for the broken seasons. Reverence for the hard resets. Reverence for the days that tested every fiber of your being and still couldn't kill your fire. Because that's what transformation looks like. It's not pretty. It's not polite. It's not for the faint of heart. But it is real. And real is rare. You've become rare. A soul who walks without masks. A heart who dares to love its mission louder than its fears. A mind who does not wander in circles but moves with direction. And now, you don't just live, you lead. You don't just speak, you spark. You don't just breathe, you build. Because you know something most don't. That time is not your enemy, it's your canvas. That fear is not your master, it's your training ground. And that life is not happening to you, it's responding to you. Every second, every breath, every step. And if you could see your future from where you now stand, you'd weep at the beauty of what's unfolding. Not because it's easy, but because it's yours. Earned, designed, built with fire. The kind of future no one can take from you because no one gave it to you. You forged it. You paid for it. You became it. And now you carry the sacred responsibility of your evolution. You don't hide your light, you honor it. You don't play small to fit in you. Expand so others rise with you. You don't fear the next level, you pull it toward you. Because you now know what most never will. Only you can change your life. And the day you stopped waiting was the day everything began. Then let it be said once. And for all that you did not wait for the world to grant you power, you remembered that you already had it. You didn't ask for the path to be cleared, you cleared it. You didn't pray for easy, you prepared for battle. You didn't seek comfort, you chose calling. And in that choice, you redefined what it means to live. You walked away from the life that was merely good enough because you knew it would never be great. You stopped negotiating with average. You stopped entertaining limitations. You stopped sitting at tables where your future wasn't being fed. And instead, you built. You trained. You evolved. Piece by piece, choice by choice, you shaped yourself into someone worthy of the vision you carry. Because a big dream requires a big version of you. And now, that version is here. Unapologetic, unrelenting, unshakable. You are no longer the one wondering when your time will come. You are the time. You are the moment. You are the shift. And every day you rise is a reminder to the world that strength is not noise, it's presence. That impact is not status, it's substance. That power is not control, it's clarity. You are clear now. Clear about who you are. Clear about what matters. Clear about what you will no longer tolerate. And clarity is magnetic. It draws in the aligned. It repels the distractions. It protects your energy like a fortress. This is how legacies are born, not in a rush of emotion, but in the quiet consistency of becoming. You've stopped counting days. You've started making days count. You've stopped wishing for less resistance. You've started training for more strength. You've stopped looking at your reflection with regret. Now you look and you respect what you see, because it wasn't given. It was earned. In the dark, in the silence, in the places where no one claps. And that's the part no one can take from you. They can question your motives. They can doubt your journey, but they can never steal the work you've done. They can never erase the discipline you've developed. They can never touch the identity you've forged in fire. So from this day forward, you don't walk, you stride. You don't speak, you command. You don't exist to survive the day. You exist to shape it. And wherever your feet land, may it be known, a force just arrived, because your life is no longer a question, it's an answer. An answer to every person who ever doubted. An answer to every voice that said, you can't. An answer to every limit, every delay, every excuse. You have become the answer. And the final truth, the one that started all of this, the one that now echoes in your bones, the one that shaped your rebirth, it still holds. It always will. Only you can change your life. And now the world moves differently because you did. And now the air around you carries a new charge. It's not electricity. It's not noise. It's not hype. It's certainty. The certainty of someone who has met themselves in the fire and didn't flinch. The certainty of someone who has stared down every excuse, every limitation, every voice that ever whispered, you're not enough, and answered back with action. You have become the kind of person who walks into a room and doesn't need to speak to shift it, because your energy says what your mouth doesn't have to. I am not who I used to be. I am not returning to what was. I am already walking in what will be. You are no longer a seeker. You are a source of direction, a source of focus, a source of discipline, a source of permission for others to rise. Your very existence now gives people around you two choices: elevate or evacuate, level up or stay behind, because you are no longer slowing down for anyone's comfort. You are no longer explaining your evolution. You are no longer apologizing for your clarity. You earned this through the grind, through the loneliness, through the days when you didn't feel like it but did it anyway, through every small silent act of alignment that no one celebrated but you still committed to. And now it all speaks. Your habits, your posture, your boundaries, your vision, they all speak louder than words ever could. And what they say is simple, sacred, and undeniable. This life is mine now. And that is the reward. Not the cars, not the applause, not the metrics. The reward is ownership. The reward is becoming. The reward is living every single day from a place of power instead of permission. That power isn't something you wear. It's something you are. And you carry it into everything you touch. Your work, your relationships, your time, your choices. You now understand the deepest truth of all. That success is not what you get. It's who you must become to hold it. And you have become that person. You've built the internal infrastructure. You've established the emotional discipline. You've sculpted the mindset, forged the habits, and cut away everything that no longer aligns. You've cleaned house from the inside out. And in doing so, you've opened a door to a life most people will never walk into because they're still waiting, still blaming, still negotiating. But not you. Never again. You are no longer waiting for a better moment. You are creating it. With your thoughts, with your schedule, with your habits, with your words, with your presence. Because this is your time. This is your era. This is your unapologetic emergence into the person you were always meant to be. Not born of chance, but born of choice. And every single day, from this moment forward, you live as proof of the one decision that changed it all. Only you can change your life. And you did. So now, you live unleashed. No more holding back. No more halfway commitments. No more fitting into frames that were never built to hold your fire. You walk with intent. You speak with purpose. You move with precision. Because this life, it's no longer a guessing game, it's a masterpiece under construction. And every hour, every decision, every word you allow to leave your lips, it's all part of the design. You don't need to explain your pace anymore. You don't need to justify your silence. You don't owe anyone an apology for the boundaries that keep you whole. Because this version of you has learned that peace is more valuable than popularity. That clarity is more precious than comfort. That a life lived in alignment is worth more than a life spent in agreement. And you've chosen alignment. No matter what it costs. No matter who doesn't understand. No matter how loud the world gets. You now live by a code written not in ink, but in blood, in sweat, in sleepless nights and relentless mornings, in the quiet victories that no one else saw, but you felt in your bones. And that code governs everything now. It's the reason you show up when others fade, the reason you execute when others hesitate, the reason you rise when others rationalize staying down. You've tapped into something sacred. The infinite source of self-leadership. And once you've tasted that kind of power, the kind no one can give you and no one can take away, you are never the same. Now your yes has weight. Your no has power. Your word has authority. Because you've built yourself into someone who honors the commitments that others treat like suggestions. And when people ask you how, when they wonder what shifted, what secret you found, they'll look for strategies and shortcuts. But the truth is simple, brutal, and beautiful. You stopped waiting. You stopped wishing. You decided. You made a vow to yourself and kept it. When it was hard, when it was lonely, when it felt like nothing was working, you kept going. And now the path is clearer. The weight is lighter. The vision is undeniable. You don't just believe in your future, you're becoming it. Every word you speak, every choice you make, every second you spend, it's all connected. It's all counted. It's all yours. Because the truth that started your transformation is still true. It always will be. Only you can change your life. And now you walk every day like someone who did, like someone who knows, like someone who doesn't just have a future, but is the future. Now go, lead it, own it, live it.